they're essentially this ubiquitous, really tough matriarchy that really doesn't give a fed up of all the depressing news. But instead of going outside and looking at a tree, you're still on your phone. Well, I've got some nature for you. Water bears, or tardigrades, are microscopic animals that live in moss like this. They also live in Antarctic lakes and ponds. They live in the deep sea. They live in the sand at the beach. They live in even the meltwater pockets that form on Greenland's glaciers. And these animals are renowned for being pretty much indestructible. They survive being boiled, being frozen, being irradiated, even survive being put into space. And for a long time, we thought that they needed to be in a dormant state. So they shrivel their bodies up, they remove the water, replace it with sugars that then become almost like glass when they dehydrate themselves. It's called vitrification. Well, a study a couple of years ago found that actually they can survive being irradiated to such an extent that we would die in a few seconds. And they're still in their eight-legged, squishy, bumbling form. And it's because they ramp up all of their DNA repair mechanisms just to an enormous degree, about 300 times more than when they're not being irradiated. So they just essentially, what radiation does is tear DNA apart and proteins. And what tardigrades are doing is the opposite. They're putting it all back together, healing themselves, a bit like Wolverine. And they even have the claws like Wolverine, but they're not made of adamantine. They're made of protein and chitin, the same as the exoskeleton of insects. They've even been used as an indicator for a dead or sterile Earth. So they're so indestructible, the scientists thought, well, if they die, then everything else on Earth is going to be pretty much dead. And what would cause that is all of the oceans being vaporized. And the only thing powerful enough to lead to all of the oceans disappearing is an enormous asteroid or meteor, larger than the one that led to the extinction of the non-bird dinosaurs. And there are two asteroid and meteors known of that size, and fortunately, they're not heading our way anytime soon. But it's nice to know that there's some little organisms out there who really don't care about international law. Well, there are some big organisms that don't care about international law. Oh yeah, and most tardigrades we've ever found are female, and they can reproduce without males. It's known as parthenogenesis. And they're essentially this ubiquitous, really tough matriarchy that really doesn't give a